Hi, this is Mike Logan. I'm pastor and director of Sunlight Ministries. We've been in Texas nonprofit for about 27 years, give or take. And we're under a 501c3 of Shiloh Tabernacle of Praise in Houston, Sugar Land. And we have connections with Capstone Legacy Foundation. I'm coming to you on behalf of two issues. I'm going to put the most urgent one first. We're working with persecuted Christian refugees, a story that has not gotten out, that people, Christians in various Muslim countries and other countries with ideologies hostile to Christianity, where their lives and liberty and that of the lives and liberty of their families were at risk, they ran, which I probably would have done too, into countries that are in Southeast Asia that are not signatories to the United Nations asylum treaties. Christians are unfairly treated by the UNHCR, the United Nations agency in charge of refugees. When they go to these countries, they're immediately criminals. They're not permitted to work. Their kids can't go to school. They have no access to anything unless they have cash. The churches in these countries where Christianity is a minority religion are strapped to the max. And what happens to these families is they hide in hopes of, they try to do some black market work. One guy picks up scraps and makes sandals out of them that he sells for enough money to feed his family for a day. And I could tell you a lot of stories, but I know some of these families that have come into these countries, and they come from various areas, again, where they're being persecuted by Islam, where they're being persecuted by communism and ideologies that can be and are very hostile to Christianity. They need food, shelter, medical help, but they need a willing host country. There are between, I don't know the exact number, the minimum number I've heard is 10,000. I've heard in excess of 50,000 that have fled from Pakistan and Vietnam and even North Korea, and have fled to various places in Southeast Asia like Thailand and Sri Lanka and Malaysia. And what happens next for them is that if they're picked up, the entire family gets thrown into an immigration detention center, and if they survive that, and many do not, they're repatriated, where in the case of Pakistan, they would be made indentured servants, sent to prison, receive lashes, or be executed for the crime of being a Christian. We need to help them. The body of Christ is big enough to handle that. If God can touch a guy named Moses, who was a convicted murderer, and get him to go back to Pharaoh and say, "Let my people go," and he ended up leading over 1 million out across the Red Sea and into a place where they weren't slaves anymore, and eventually to the Promised Land, then a group of Christians today can help these persecuted Christian refugees be resettled in willing host countries. Let me give you an example. We've been talking to a member of Parliament in Canada, where we helped one family, a pastor and his wife and 3 children, who were under a death warrant. We helped them escape, get to the United States and on into Canada. That MP is saying, yeah, we'll take Christians, we just need sponsors. The Prime Minister Trudeau has said they need 1 million more workers in Quebec before 2024. Why can't those workers be Christians? They can be. All we need is for the body of Christ to get the ball rolling. Here's the plan. Right now, we want to be able to raise 20 to 30,000 or more a month so that the churches that we're working with in these non-asylum countries will have food and medical supplies to give to the people. We'll be able to provide money for housing for those that have families, so that they can get their families off the streets and out of some of the places that are dangerous for them to be. They can't go to church because that's where the immigration police will pick them up and arrest them and put them in detention centers. The next phase is to begin the process of helping them move into willing host countries. There's a lot of conversation that we need to have with the countries where they're currently at. We've made initial contacts with 2 United States senators and the State Department to begin to understand what we need to do to get those people there. Well, how are the body of Christ going to know that these persecuted Christian refugees are there unless we tell them? We have a plan. The plan is, I've been introduced by Capstone Legacy Foundation to Uplift TV. I've been connected also with a videographer. We want to go to Southeast Asia by September at the latest, and we want to film testimonies of these persecuted Christian refugees, and we want to put together a brief documentary that can be on Christian television during Canada's Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving in the United States. And we're believing that we can see 20 to 30,000 sponsors that will sponsor these families over here. Then the next step will be to work through the legal process to get the country where they are to issue them a temporary passport, or a neighboring country to issue a temporary passport, so that we can get them into, let's say, Canada, for example, or any of another. There are several willing host countries who will receive Christian refugees. When Christians go now to the UNHCR meetings, what happens is when the Pakistanis go in, they get a translator who, by chance, happens to be Muslim. Well, they tell their story, and I'm not being anti-Muslim. I'm just saying that there's some prejudice at work here. That 99+% of the times when a Christian goes to UNHCR, they're denied refugee status, and so they're stuck. But if a Muslim goes in, he gets a pass-through, he gets a wave, he gets passed on. I'm asking for your help. We need to raise $75,000. We're under a 501c3. If you prefer, we can go through a foundation that's working with us. We need to raise $75,000 to take a crew over there and to film these stories so that we can tell their story, and make this problem history by resettling these Christian refugees in willing host countries where their kids can go to school, where they can get back on with their lives, and where they can worship God the way they see fit. Please help us. I'm going to put a link to our Facebook page, which has a link to our PayPal account. If you need references, please let me know. I'll provide you references. My email address will also be in the space below the YouTube video. Please help us. And if you're in business, if you happen to own or control large real estate holdings, whether you're for-profit or non-profit, we have an energy company that will donate to us portions of what we're able to do. This energy company will make your facilities 50 to 80% more. You'll be receiving 50 to 80% less electricity from the grid than you are right now, because they'll help you manage the load centers in your facility, and they'll help you co-generate where that's possible. Please contact me by email if you're a business person, or if you're in government and you know of government facilities or hospitals that where we could cut down the expenses there by using the energy more efficiently or generating it on site. Thank you for your time and attention. I'm asking for your prayers, I'm asking for your financial support, and I'm asking you to help us make this miracle a reality and reach out to these Christian brothers and sisters and help them get on with their lives. Thank you for your time. God bless you. God bless your family. And God bless the work of your hands. Thank you.